I would be lying to you 100% if I told you I have any idea how to install this. However, wild enough, the Silverback Open Sear was the most recommended upgrade that I do for the SRS. And if it does what it says it's supposed to do, then I totally understand why. The idea behind the Open Sear is it will make it easier to rack the bolt than the standard sear in the back of the replica. So basically what happens is when you pull your bolt back, your piston gets stuck on this sear. Bringing the bolt forward, the piston remains on the sear, and the sear is connected all the way into the trigger box. When you pull the trigger, the sear releases, sending the piston forward. However, to get it to latch over the sear, when you pull that charging handle back, the shape of the sear, from my understanding, is a little bit aggressive, and that's what causes the like that little extra tension when you get all the way back into the end of the rifle. So what we're going to do today is try and figure out how to install the part that nobody has directions on. So I guess I'll be the first person to install this on camera, unless there's a video out there, it's not popular, and it's not popping up for me. It's a super simple takedown. The first things we're going to have to do is remove the butt pad. So we'll pop off the back of this guy. We'll take out our spring guide, our spring. We're going to remove this rubber butt. Okay. Now we're going to pull the trigger and we'll move our bolt and our piston. And then we'll just pull the mag out as well. That should be all you need to do to uninstall that. Now we have to split the receiver. They're not the hardest thing in the world, but it does take a little bit of time. You're going to take an Allen key and you're going to remove both on this side and the other side. This screw, 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 and this screw. And then it'll split in half. There is a nut on the back that you have to be careful of, and all of these are different sizes, so remember where they came from. But just like that, and just the magic of video editing, the SRS is totally split into two. Super awesome. It's super easy, and the beauty of the SRS is it just splits like so. Yours likely will not have any foam in it, like mine does. This is just to quiet down the sound that comes from the bolt slamming forward. And the entire Silverback SRS will split apart from both receivers, and you can tack on it from there. Now, the fun part is trying to figure out how I have to get this sear out. Definitely have to unscrew, if you could see. Don't lose that. These two screws. It's under the spring's tension. I'm assuming these two screws and maybe this pin are what hold it in place. Let's figure it out. Let's first get to the screws that are in the bottom. We're gonna mess about with this together. So you guys will keep me company, and if I make any massive, massive mistakes, obviously you can yell at me in the comments. Now, while we are doing this, I just want to let you guys know, I just recently started a snipers Discord. It is for sniping only. It has your general run-of-the-mill Springers, gas, HPA, AEG snipers. It's got all of the upgrades for them and a bunch of fans of each, so you can talk to people who are experienced with each as well. I also added a DMR section with only popular DMRs. It's kind of developing right now, but we have a bunch of people and it's relatively active. So if you don't see your sniping platform, add it to the Discord channel or add it to the suggestions page, and you can join with the link in my bio. I'll even link it in the description at the bottom of this video too. All right, let's grab a pair of tweezers. I think that spring is now free. It is. Cool. And I would assume we have to push this pin out, and it looks like it comes out that way. So use the right tools. My wife got me this nice hole punch kit for Christmas. So this will be perfect for what we need. I'm gonna pull this out. And we'll just give it a little tap, tap, tap. It should fall out the other side, right? Yep, okay. Now let's see if that's it. That might be it. Let's check the orientation and how it's going to install. I believe it will sit like that. The regular Sear, this bar down here, the trigger bar, actually inserts through the bottom hole. And looking at the other Sear has a hook for its bottom hole. So it just hooks into place. That's weird. Very weird. Very, very weird. Now, it is relatively greased up, so I don't think we need to add any excess grease to it. We are going to get this pin back through. Oh, there we go. Okay, we're in now. Awesome. And make sure, obviously, that hook is up in the front. Next, we're going to take our spring. Put that in place. We could flip this up on its top. And then we'll screw that little plate back on to the top. Now, I believe the SRS has some minor screw adjustments so you can adjust the tension on the Sear. So I'm not sure if we have to do that as well. And I also don't particularly know why this specifically makes the catch easier. And I also imagine this is designed to work with the stock bolt. So the only thing that I'm worried about is, will it work with my Wasp piston from Sniper Mechanics? Now, when you pull the trigger, just to test it out, you can see it pulls on the auto Sear, and the Sear catches and disconnects, which is exactly what we needed to do. Let's toss this guy all back together. So we're going to put the, where am I going? The receiver back on to the lower body. We'll fit our foam in place. Now we'll stuff the foam later. We'll throw the lower back on this side, and then both sides, just make sure they connect nice and snug. Make sure our monopod pad is in place. Fantastic. And with the power of video editing, the SRS's screws are all back in place. There's the Sear. It's time to test it out and hope all that work was actually worth something. So let's get that Sear out of the way. Pull that guy in place. Everything fits. So that's a good start. I'm gonna throw this rubber piece in place. It's never easy. We'll just put it in this way. Little tip for getting this guy in and out, the way that I usually do it, is I try and thread it into place as much as I can. Hold it down, and then I'll use the bolt to charge it. Now, to get it the rest of the way, if you just grab something that fits in that little hole, you want to make sure that obviously there's nothing under it, so don't put the bolt or your piston under it, and then just pull it back a tad bit, and boom. Now we're going to throw the spring guide, and the stock back on. Perfect. Okay, yeah, we can pull that back a little bit more. Cool. All right, let's test this guy out. Let's see if it's an easier bolt pull. Best I can do is throw it up on my shoulder. Oh, wait a minute. That actually is a lot easier. Okay, so general consensus it's absolutely worth it. The reason being is with the stock Sear, the best way that I can explain it to you is when charging the bolt back, you have a consistent amount of tension the entire way until you get to the end. And I'd say there's maybe like 5 pounds more pressure you have to put in to get the piston to lock over the Sear. The other thing now is with the auto Sear in, there's the consistent tension the whole way. It doesn't feel like you have that extra like 5 pounds of tension. It's not the worst thing in the world, but 100, 200, 300 shots later, that point at which you pull the bolt all the way back is a lot harder. But you could tell it's just a consistent tension the whole way. And as for the trigger pull to release it, it feels exactly the same. That doesn't feel any different. At least I don't notice it. Maybe there's like a small difference, but I don't really notice it at all, to be totally honest with you. So that's the auto Sear upgrade. I guess it's time to throw out this Sear. I wish Silverback automatically installed them. But yeah, it was awesome. So stay tuned for the next upgrade.